Scott Simpson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I want to join with other colleagues from this side of the House in this general debate this afternoon and talk a little bit about the very important decision that the Honourable Paula Bennett, Minister for Climate Change Issues, has made today in relation to the early ratification of our Paris Agreement obligations. But, sir, listening to Grant Robertson speaking, one would be forgiven for thinking that he missed hearing his leader, the abject, desperate leader of the Labor Party, trying to talk back the political damage he did last week earlier in this debate. And last week, sir, Andrew Little was telling Labor MPs, do not be seen with the right-wing mayor of Pororua. He's a right-wing person and you cannot be seen in the same room as he is. This week, in this debate, sir, this afternoon, suddenly, guess what? The mayor of Pororua is suddenly a good guy. He's a fine guy. He's a guy that's to be lauded and to be applauded, according to Andrew Little. And Andrew Little can, as desperately and wantonly as he likes, try and talk back the damage that he did last week, try and talk it back, try and walk it back, try and make it as if it didn't happen, but, sir, it did. And, sir, that week, last week, was a disaster for the Labor Party, a disaster for the Leader of the Opposition, and only destined him to be in that role for a very long period of time yet to come. Sir, this afternoon we've had a terrific announcement for New Zealanders, for this Parliament and indeed for the globe, because the Minister for Climate Change Issues has very early, much earlier than was anticipated, been able to announce that New Zealand will ratify the Paris Agreement that was made in December of last year, and that was, sir, when 180 countries from around the world, who together collectively make up 99% of global emissions, agreed to make emissions reductions possible. And, sir, there were many sceptics who thought that that Paris Agreement could not achieve what it had set out to do, or achieve what it did in fact achieve. And, sir, so this is why this early ratification by New Zealand, notwithstanding the fact that we are a small contributor to global emissions internationally, but we have an important leadership role to play. So New Zealand is part of a much bigger global plan to address climate change issues that are facing the world. And Paula Bennett, sir, in my view, is doing a terrific job of communicating that not only on the international stage, but also to New Zealanders here, who some are still coming to terms with the importance of climate change issues. And I think that she can articulate and present and communicate those messages to Middle New Zealand in a way that is worthy of this Parliament and this government. Sir, we've set as a government some very ambitious targets for New Zealand, and it won't be easy for us to meet those targets. It won't be easy for us to achieve them. They're going to be difficult to achieve, and we have set that our target should be 30% below our 2005 emission level by the year 2030. Now, that's the sort of thing that's relatively easy to say, but when we take a minute or two to think about the ramifications of how that might implicate our businesses, our agricultural sector and every sector of New Zealand society, then we begin to understand that every sector of New Zealand society has an important, pivotal role to play in reducing our emissions. Sir, it's only a few years ago that most New Zealanders didn't recycle, that most New Zealanders didn't sort their rubbish in terms of their landfill. They didn't sort their glass from their newspaper, from their tin cans, from their paper and from their landfill waste. Nowadays, it's very common, sir, and it's a part of actually probably just about every household in the country. So in a small but important way, over a few years, New Zealanders have actually already started to make those transitional changes that are required to assist helping reduce our climate change impacts. So, sir, it's a good day for New Zealand, it's a good day for this Parliament, and I'm enormously proud to be part of a government that is going to ratify New Zealand's Paris Climate Change Agreement much, much earlier than we had anticipated, and I congratulate the Minister for bringing it to the House today.
Mr Speaker.